All right, hello guys. I want to do a little bit of a reaction to week 1. There's been a lot of hot takes that's been kind of circulating the internet as always. And there's a couple of teams that were just disappointing in week 1. Notably, let's talk about the Jets and the Bengals. Those two teams specifically were very disappointing in week 1. Some people I think are overreacting to the actual games. Let's set this straight. It's week 1. I think almost every team in the NFL looked sloppy for the most part. I think the Chiefs were the best looking team of week 1. They'd be my number 1 in power rankings right now, but even they looked a little sloppy at times against the Ravens. But the Bengals and Jets specifically were really underwhelming. And that's not to say the Jets were expected to beat the 49ers or whatnot, but they were supposed to put up at least a little bit of a fight. But we're going to talk about that game first because I think this one's more important. I've already talked about the Patriots and Bengals a little bit already on the channel. I want to talk about the Jets because I want to use kind of our reaction to that game with the reaction of the Bengals as well. So the Jets in this game with the 49ers, the game wasn't close. Really from the beginning of the game till the end, the Jets were not in it pretty much at all. The 49ers just completely were more physical than the Jets. They were owning the line of scrimmage on both offense and defense. And the Jets had no answer, right? It got so bad, but by the end of the game, Aaron Rodgers wasn't even in the game. So people have already started making hot takes. Oh, the Jets are not going to be as good as we thought. They're not going to be good. All these wild takes. And guys, it's week 1. Think about how many teams that have started like 2-0 or 2-3 in the last couple years and then completely fall apart the rest of the season. It's because early in the year, it's hard to game plan, and it's at the time of the year where I think there's the closest gap in competition, right? You don't have as much film on the other team. You don't know exactly what they're going to do, especially with rookie quarterbacks or, newer teams under new head coaches, all those things. Not to mention getting back into the game, right? What is it like for especially someone like Aaron Rodgers who didn't play really all of last year outside of a couple snaps at the beginning of the season, coming off of a torn ACL? How is he going to adjust to that, right? How is he going to adjust to a huge injury at the age of 40 and put it all together? With a new team, I might add, as well, right? Last year was supposed to be his first year with the Jets. Now it's the second year, and he's actually starting to get real-time reps with his players. So, of course, it didn't look perfect in this game. And that's not to give the Jets excuses and say, oh, this was just a game that we should just gloss over. There were issues in the game, but I think that the Jets, as time goes on, should be able to improve some of those issues. And that's coming from a Patriots fan. I don't like the Jets, but I don't think we should crucify them after one game. But let's talk about what went wrong for the Jets in this game. One, the offensive line in this game just wasn't very good. I think maybe in pass protection, they were okay, right? Run blocking was not very good in this game. Breece Hall had almost no help from the offensive line. Breece Hall himself, who is kind of the star of this team with Garrett Wilson on offense, he didn't have a very good game either. When he was given chances, he has a fumble right off the bat on the second drive of the game. He had a drop in terms of receiving. He just didn't look perfect today. He didn't look great. And I expect him to kick it back up as the season goes on. Just not a great game for Breece Hall. Had an offensive line that in their first game together, they had almost a completely new offensive line this season. You're going up against the 49ers, one of the best front lines in the NFL, if not the best. That's a heavy task for anyone to do. And if you even want to see an example that really, in my opinion, is very similar to this situation, Tom Brady, when he played the Saints in his first year with the Buccaneers early on in the season, they got absolutely embarrassed, and it was a nightmare for the Buccaneers. Was the season over? No, because they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year. It's called an adjustment period, right? You have a bunch of new players playing together with a new quarterback under center trying to get the whole system and everybody playing together. I think this loss is in the long term a good thing, right? Because you did get tested by probably the second best team in the NFL right now in week 1, right? You got to see where you're at and what you need to improve on. And I think the Jets will improve, right? I think there's just too much talent on the Jets team. And the thing I was more disappointed by was the Jets defense. The Jets offense, I wasn't as disappointed in because I thought there could be some growing pains with this offense. I think that's only natural. But the defense is, I think, the real concern in this game. The defense, for the most part, stayed the same. And the fact that they got torched as badly as they did without Christian McCaffrey in the game is either a really big testament to Kyle Shanahan, which I do think that's true, but also that the defense just didn't come to play in week one. That just also seems to be the case. The 49ers could do pretty much anything they wanted, and it was working against that Jets defense. So I think that's the one thing in the area that I would look at and go, yeah, definitely need to improve on defense. Coming off from last year, the only reason the Jets had 7 wins in general is because of the defense. They had the worst offense probably in the league, right there with like the Patriots. So I want to give a pause and a pushback on making wild claims just for like clicks or whatever in week one. Now, the Bengals, they're in another similar case. As much as I want to praise the Patriots, and I have, right? I think they play great on defense and special teams. We also have to acknowledge the Bengals did not have Jamar Chase playing full reps. T. Higgins was out. This is a team where Joe Burrow is coming off of injury, just like Aaron Rodgers. Yes, they are healthy, but still, playing in a full NFL game, a real NFL game, is much different than practice training camp and rehab, whatever. So I want to give a pushback on that. I mean, the fact that the Bengals were close to the Patriots, even with how bad their offense played, is quite surprising to me. Is quite insane, right? The Patriots had a chance to lose that game while dominating it pretty much the entire time. And so I think the Bengals, when they get healthy, they'll bounce back, right? You'll get T. Higgins back. You'll have Jamar Chase on full reps. Joe Burrow will be more in sync into the offense. And again, he starts slow. That's just what's happened. This offense starts slow. It seems like every single year, and this year seems to be no different. And so the big thing I really want to come out of this video is it's week one. We can't determine how good or bad a team is going to be this season based off of one game. Like the Patriots, for instance. Well, they just beat the Bengals. Should I start thinking they're going to be in the playoffs? No, right? I don't think the Patriots will be in the playoffs because they beat the Bengals, who were much more injured and depleted than the Patriots were themselves. And that's, again, not to say you can't take anything out of week one, but I don't think you can take like a lot of things out of week one because it is week one. Once we start getting to week 3 and 4, where we've seen these teams play multiple times, seeing how they're trying to identify themselves. So, for instance, the Patriots are still going with like the classic Bill Belichick way: be great on special teams, be great on defense, and don't turn the ball over. That's the Patriots' identity. But there's so many teams that aren't going to figure that out until you get to week 3, until you get to week 4. That's going to be a team like the Jets, right? They're going to have to find their identity as the season goes on. Are they going to be a heavy running team? Are they going to be, more of a pass-heavy team? What are they going to be? What's that identity right now with Aaron Rodgers? And even people criticizing Aaron Rodgers, it's like, yes, he didn't play his best, but he also wasn't helped by this team, right? You think about the first 2 drives and off of basically nothing Aaron Rodgers could do, right? It was an incompletion that it was a drop. It was just a straight up drop by the receiver, by Allen Lazard. You then had on the second one, it was a fumble by your running back. So Aaron Rodgers wasn't even involved in the first 2 drives fizzling out. The third drive, great drive, and they put it in the end zone, right? And then the rest of the game kind of fizzle out. You have a good throw to Allen Lazard later in the game that gets you another touchdown, get you on the board with 13 points. I just think it's the Jets came out slow. So, I don't know. So let me know what you guys think on this. I don't take a ton from week 1, but let me know what you guys think. Am I, underplaying some of the issues that the Bengals and the Jets have, or do you think I'm kind of right? But I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye, guys.